There is a moment in every man's life when the curtain of comfort is ripped away and the cold, raw hand of pain seizes him. It comes without invitation, without warning, without mercy. One day you stand firm, confident, even arrogant, and then, suddenly the ground beneath you crumbles, and you are left staring into the abyss of suffering. Most men run from this moment. They believe pain is punishment, cruelty, and error in the system of life. But legends, the few whose names echo across time, think differently. They see pain as the test, the silent initiation reserved only for those destined for greatness. To them, pain is not an enemy, but a forge, the fire that burns away weakness. And leaves only steel. Think about it. If gold must pass through fire to be purified, if diamonds are formed only under the crushing weight of the earth, why would you, a man who dreams of becoming more than average, imagine that you will rise? Without trials? Pain is not sent to destroy you. It is sent to shape you. It is the sculptor that chips away the stone, the fire that hardens the blade, the pressure that forms the jewel. The only question is, will you endure long enough for the transformation to take place? Or will you run, leaving yourself unfinished, unformed, unready? Viktor Frankl understood this truth when he endured the horrors of the concentration camps. Stripped of everything, surrounded by death, starved and humiliated, he had every reason to collapse into despair. Yet he discovered one profound law. Even in suffering, a man retains the final freedom, the power to choose his response. That shift of thought choosing meaning in suffering was the difference between those who perished inside their souls and those who emerged stronger, wiser, unbreakable. Frankl reframed pain not as cruelty, but as responsibility. And that reframing turned agony into strength. This is how legends think when pain hits. They do not ask, why me? They ask, what is this making of me? They do not see pain as the end. They see it as the beginning. Ordinary men collapse because they believe suffering is abnormal. Legends rise because they understand suffering is essential. They know that no man can lead, no man can build, no man can inspire, until he has first been broken and rebuilt by the flames of hardship. Abraham Lincoln is another example. His life was marked by repeated failed businesses, failed. Elections, crushing personal losses. By the time he became president, he had been defeated more times than most men even attempt to try. Yet each defeat deepened his character, sharpened his resolve, widened his compassion. Pain was his constant companion, but instead of breaking him, it built him into a man strong enough to lead a nation through its darkest hour. Do you see the pattern? Pain does not discriminate. It visits every man, but it does not build every man. Only those who endure it, reframe it, and transform it become legends. This is the formula of the few. The average man sees pain as an interruption to his life plan. The legend sees pain as the plan itself. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is not philosophy. It is survival. Pain is not outside the path. Pain is the path. The obstacle is not blocking the road. The obstacle is the road. Think of Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. To most, failure after failure would have been proof of inadequacy. But Edison reframed it. I have not failed. I have simply found 10,000 ways that will not work. What others called defeat, he called progress. And because he reframed pain as feedback, he became unstoppable. The same law applies to you. When heartbreak shatters you, you can say, I am ruined. Or you can say, now I will rise harder, sharper, wiser. When betrayal cuts you, you can say, I will never trust again. Or you can say, now I see clearly who is truly with me. When failure knocks you down, You can say, I am not worthy. Or you can say, now I am being prepared for something greater. Legends are not born from easy roads. They are born from pain endured, reframed, and transformed. But how do? You do this in daily life? First, you must build the discipline of endurance. Endurance is not passive waiting, it is active persistence. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years in prison, and yet he did not emerge bitter. He emerged prepared. He had trained his mind, sharpened his vision, and strengthened his resolve during the years of solitude and suffering. Pain was his prison, but it was also his preparation. Second, you must embrace the discipline of daily discomfort. Legends do not wait for life to bring them suffering. They train in advance. They wake early, train their bodies, discipline their appetites, focus their minds. Every act of voluntary discomfort is rehearsal for involuntary suffering. Every fast, every workout, every hour of focus when distraction tempts you is practice for the inevitable storms of life. And when those storms arrive, the legend is not surprised. He is ready. Third, you must reframe pain immediately. The moment hardship hits, your first instinct will be to curse it. Train yourself to thank it. Tell yourself, this is my forge. This is my teacher. This is my initiation. Speak it out loud if you must. Your interpretation of pain will decide whether it destroys or transforms you. This is the mental code of the few. This is how they think when pain hits. They are not superhuman. They simply refuse to waste suffering. They take what breaks others and use it as bricks to build themselves. And so I say to you, stop fearing pain. Stop running from it. Stop imagining that your life will be great if you can avoid it. Greatness is not the absence of pain. Greatness is the mastery of it. And if you endure, if you reframe, if you build daily habits of discipline, then success will not be something you chase. It will be something drawn to you irresistibly, because you have become the kind of man it cannot ignore. Asterisk. When pain enters a man's life, it does not announce itself politely. It smashes through the door like a storm, unexpected and merciless. And in that moment, the truth of who you are is revealed. Not in your victories, not in your comfort, not in your celebrations. The truth is revealed in your suffering. What you do when pain arrives declares whether you are ordinary or extraordinary, whether you are destined to vanish with the crowd or to rise as one of the few whose names echo. Across time, the formula of the few begins with endurance. Endurance is not the absence of suffering, but the refusal to bow to it. Legends do not escape pain. They outlast it. They hold the line when everything inside them screams to quit. They look pain in the eye and say, you may strike me, but you will not break me. You may burn me, but you will refine me. You may cut me, but every scar will become proof of my strength. Consider the Roman legions. They were not remembered because they were stronger than all enemies. They were remembered because they endured more. 50 miles of marching under. Armor, days of hunger, nights of freezing cold, endless battles with no promise of survival. And yet, they held formation. Discipline was their shield, and endurance was their weapon. Their enemies broke before they did. That was their formula. Endure longer than the world expects you to. The same applies to your life. Most men collapse under the first blow, an insult, a rejection, a failure, a betrayal. They think this is the end. But legends see these blows as beginnings. They understand that the longer they endure, the rarer they become. Endurance itself separates the many from the few, but endurance alone is not enough. The mind must be trained to reframe pain, because pain is neutral. It is simply sensation, force, pressure. What gives it power is your interpretation. If you call it destruction, it will destroy you. If you call it training, It will build you. The Stoics knew this truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Pain outside you is not the problem. The problem is how you think about it inside. Think of a man in the gym lifting heavy weight. His muscles ache, his lungs burn, his body trembles. If he interprets the pain as damage, he quits. If he interprets the pain as growth, he continues, and soon his body transforms. The same law governs life. Pain will strike, but you decide whether it is the death of you or the rebirth of you. Legends always choose rebirth. Nelson Mandela is one of history's clearest examples. 27 years behind bars could have made him bitter. He could have emerged consumed with hatred, broken by despair. Instead, he reframed prison as preparation. He studied, he strategized, he disciplined his spirit. Pain was not his jailer, it was his teacher. And when he finally walked free, he was not merely a man, he was a leader forged in the fire of endurance. His suffering became the foundation of his authority. His pain became the magnet of his power. This is how legends think. They do not waste suffering. They do not complain, because complaint does nothing. They do not wallow in self-pity, because pity weakens the spirit. They use every cut, every scar, every setback as material to build themselves into something greater. And yet, you must understand this pain will always test you where you are weakest. It knows your vulnerabilities. It will strike your pride, your patience, your faith, your relationships, your finances. It will attack where you least expect, where you are least fortified. That is why legends train in advance. They build discipline in areas others ignore. They strengthen their minds before the crisis comes. They control their appetites before temptation arrives. They prepare for loneliness before isolation hits. The average man waits until pain arrives to decide who he will be. The legend decides in advance. He says, "No matter what comes, I will not quit. No matter how hard it gets, I will endure. No matter how deep the pain, I will use it as fuel." That decision, made in advance, is the foundation of unshakable resilience. Think of Abraham Lincoln again. His failures were endless. He lost elections, lost businesses, buried children, endured heartbreak after heartbreak. And yet, he had decided long before he would not be defeated. Each loss cut him, but each cut deepened his capacity to lead. With compassion, with humility, with strength. By the time the Civil War split his nation, Lincoln was not untested. He was battle-hardened by personal pain. That is why he endured when others collapsed. The formula of the few is not glamorous. It is not loud. It is not displayed on social media. It is silent, internal, forged in private struggles, in tears no one sees, in nights when you are alone with your thoughts and your pain. This is where legends are built. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not in applause, but in agony. Not in ease, but in endurance. And here is the paradox. The more pain you endure, the stronger your attraction becomes. Success itself is drawn to resilience. Opportunity is magnetized to strength. People follow those who refuse to quit. Pain repels the weak, but it attracts greatness. This is why the formula of the few begins not with chasing success, but with becoming worthy of it through endurance. So I say to you, stop praying for a painless life. That prayer is the anthem of the average. Pray instead for strength. Pray for endurance. Pray for the clarity to reframe suffering into training. Because pain will come whether you want it or not. The only question is whether it will find you unprepared and break you, or find you prepared and make you into a legend. Pain is the universal language. Every man understands it, every man feels it, but not every man interprets it the same way. For most, Pain is a signal to stop, to withdraw, to shrink back into safety. But for the rare few, for the ones history remembers, pain is not a wall but a door. It is the invitation to transformation, the gateway into power. The difference is not in the pain itself. It is in the mind of the man who faces it. When legends are struck by failure, they do not see the end of the road. They see a new beginning. They understand that failure is feedback, not finality. Every loss, every rejection, every closed door becomes information. Edison found 10,000 ways that didn't work before he discovered the one that did. Each failure refined him, directed him, sharpened him. Had he stopped after the first 100 attempts, the first 1,000, history would never have known his name. But he continued, because to him, pain was proof he was moving, proof he was growing, proof he was closer. And here is the secret. Pain creates clarity. When you fail, when you hurt, when life shatters your illusions, you see more clearly what truly matters. Pain strips away the non-essential. It burns away vanity. It reveals truth. That is why legends value pain. It brings them face to face with reality in a way comfort never cannot think of steel. It is not strong in its natural state. It must be heated, hammered, folded, and struck again and again until it becomes unbreakable. So it is with men. You cannot build an unshakable spirit in the absence of trials. Comfort produces softness. Hardship produces hardness. Pain produces permanence. Nelson Mandela, locked away for nearly 3 decades, had every reason to give up. But he took the pain of isolation and turned it into the power of vision. He studied his enemies. He disciplined his thoughts. He refined his mission. When he was released, he was not a broken man. He was a weapon sharpened by suffering. And the world could not ignore him. Abraham Lincoln's pain was different, but no less powerful. Loss after loss, defeat after defeat. Yet he rose again, each time a little stronger, a little wiser, a little deeper. The pain he carried gave him compassion, empathy, resilience, the exact traits required to lead a fractured nation. Pain prepared him for the role history demanded. What does this mean for you? It means that pain is not proof that life has abandoned you. It is proof that life is preparing you. Every heartbreak is an invitation to deeper discipline. Every betrayal is a call to greater focus. Every failure is an instruction, pointing you toward refinement. Legends take these blows and use them as bricks. They build with what others throw away. But here is the crucial part. Pain does not automatically make you stronger. Many men are destroyed by it. The difference lies in choice. Pain offers you 2 paths, collapse or construction. Weak men collapse. Strong men construct. Which path you take determines whether you are forgotten or remembered. The formula of the few is this: never waste suffering. Every drop of pain must be recycled into power. Every scar must be a symbol, not of defeat, but of transformation. Every wound must remind you not of how weak you were, but of how strong you are becoming. And there is something else. Pain teaches humility. Legends know they are not invincible. They know life can strike hard and without warning. Pain reminds them that strength must be renewed daily, that discipline is not optional, that pride leads to downfall. Humility born from pain keeps them sharp, keeps them vigilant, keeps them grounded. Look also at the life of Job in Scripture. Stripped of wealth, family, health, respect reduced to dust. Yet his endurance, his refusal to curse his fate, his decision to cling to faith, transformed his pain into a testimony that has inspired generations. His restoration was not given despite his pain, but through it. Pain was the gateway to a double portion. And here is where most men go wrong. They believe success can be built without suffering. They look for shortcuts, for hacks, for easy paths. But easy paths never build legends. They build weak men with fragile crowns, easily shattered by the first storm. True crowns are earned in fire, and only fire makes them unbreakable. So when pain hits you, remember, this is not punishment. This is preparation. Do not waste time asking, why me? Ask instead, what am I becoming because of this? Do not beg for it to end too quickly. Ask for the endurance to see it through. Because if you cut short the process, you cut short your own greatness. Legends think differently. Where most men see tragedy, they see training. Where most men see defeat, they see discipline. Where most men see the end, they see the forge. This shift in thinking is everything. It is not the pain that makes the legend. It is the mindset in the midst of it. And let this be clear. The world does not reward those who chase. It rewards those who become. Pain is the raw material of becoming. Comfort will never carve you into greatness. Only pain will. And only those who embrace it, who harness it, who rise within it, will attract the kind of respect, wealth, and influence that ordinary men can only dream about. So if you are suffering now, if you are broken now, if you feel abandoned, rejected, crushed, understand this. You are in the forge. Do not run. Do not quit. Do not curse it. Stay in the fire long enough, and you will emerge unrecognizable. The man who entered will not be the man who leaves, and the world will not be able to ignore who you have become. This is the formula of the few. Pain is inevitable. Transformation is optional. Choose transformation, and you choose destiny. Legends are not built in public. They are forged in silence, in the private routines no one sees, in the daily habits that most men consider too small to matter. When pain hits, ordinary men collapse because their lives were never built on discipline. They were built on comfort. Legends, however, are prepared because they have trained daily to transform pain into power. They do not wait for suffering to arrive before practicing resilience. They practice resilience every single day, so when suffering does arrive, it finds them already armed, already unshakable. The daily habits of legends are not glamorous. They do not look impressive on the surface. There are no applause, no headlines, no cameras to capture the grind. But these small habits are magnetic. They create an identity so strong that success itself is attracted to it. Consider the first law. Control your mornings. How a man begins his day declares how he will end it. Legends rise early, before the world's noise can invade their minds. They claim the first hour as sacred, a time to build themselves physically, mentally, spiritually. Some train their bodies, testing their endurance through sweat and strain. Some sharpen their minds, reading, writing, studying the principles that will direct their lives. Some meditate, reflect, or pray, fortifying their spirit with silence. But all share the same trait. They begin the day with intention, not reaction. Ordinary men roll out of bed and hand control of their minds to distractions, to social media, to the trivial noise of the world. Legends command their mornings, and by doing so, command their lives. The second law, discipline of the body. Legends understand that the body is not separate from the mind. It is its ally or its enemy. A weak body weakens the will. A strong body sharpens it. Pain is not avoided, but invited in the form of training. Exercise is not about vanity. It is about mastery. Each drop of sweat is a lesson in endurance. Each repetition a rehearsal for hardship. Each disciplined meal a declaration that appetite does not rule them. When pain arrives unexpectedly, illness, fatigue, long nights of work, the legends. Body does not betray him. It serves him because he has spent years disciplining it. The third law, mastery of focus. The modern world scatters men into 1,000 pieces, drowning them in distractions, killing their ability to concentrate. But legends know that scattered energy produces scattered results. They practice the art of deep focus, choosing one priority, and pursuing it with total attention. They turn off noise, eliminate trivialities, and immerse themselves in meaningful work. Pain cannot break their concentration, because they have trained themselves to hold the line. This kind of focus is rare, and rarity is power. The man who can concentrate in a distracted world is the man who attracts everything others chase. The fourth law, mastery of speech. Legends do not waste words. They do not complain, because complaint magnifies pain. They do not gossip, because gossip weakens discipline. They do not boast, because boasting steals the silent power of results. Instead, they choose words like a craftsman chooses tools precisely, intentionally, rarely. And often, their greatest weapon is silence itself. Pain may tempt them to lash out, to cry for sympathy, to announce their suffering to the world. But legends remain quiet. They understand that silence builds gravity, and gravity draws attention far more effectively than noise. The fifth law, reflection. Each night, legends face themselves with brutal honesty. They ask, did I live today as the man I am becoming? Did I rise to meet pain, or did I collapse? Did I honor my code, or did I betray it? Ordinary men avoid self-examination because it forces them to confront weakness. Legends welcome it because it sharpens their strength. Reflection prevents drift, keeps vision clear, and ensures that even when they stumble, they rise again with clarity and direction. The sixth law, gratitude. Pain often blinds men to what remains, but gratitude opens their eyes. Legends practice gratitude not as a soft feeling, but as a hard discipline. They deliberately focus on what is still within their control, on the strength that suffering is, building on the lessons hidden in hardship. Gratitude is a shield against bitterness, and bitterness is the poison that destroys most men in suffering. By choosing gratitude daily, legends convert pain into perspective and despair into endurance. The seventh law, voluntary discomfort. Legends do not wait for pain, they rehearse it. They fast when food is abundant to remind themselves they are stronger than hunger. They rise early to remind themselves they are stronger than fatigue. They push their bodies to the limit in training to remind themselves they are stronger than weakness. Why? Because voluntary suffering prepares them for involuntary suffering. When unexpected trials strike, they are not surprised. They are ready. All these habits form a magnetic identity. Success does not come to men who wish for it. It comes to men who embody it. And embodiment is built in the small, hidden disciplines of each day. Pain is not an interruption to this process. It is part of it. Each routine, each habit, each ritual trains the mind to reframe pain as fuel. Look at Benjamin Franklin. He crafted a list of virtues and practiced them daily, reviewing his progress each night. He understood that greatness was not the result of one great act, but of thousands of small, disciplined acts. His pain was not wasted. It was recorded, studied, transformed into wisdom. That is why his influence outlived him. Look at the warriors of Sparta. From childhood, they were trained in discomfort, hardship, endurance. Pain was not avoided, but embraced as a friend. By the time they stood on the battlefield, they did not fear pain. It was as familiar as breath. Their discipline made them magnetic. Their enemies feared them before the battle began. This is the daily life of legends. And here lies the difference. Average men run from pain. Legends rehearse it. Average men complain. Legends remain silent. Average men waste their mornings. Legends command them. Average men scatter their energy. Legends focus it. Average men avoid reflection. Legends pursue it ruthlessly. Average men allow bitterness. Legends cultivate gratitude. Do you see the pattern? Legends are not created by chance. They are built by habit, forged by discipline, refined by pain. They understand that every day is training. Every act of discipline is a brick. Every moment of discomfort is a rehearsal for greatness. And so, if you desire to think like a legend when pain hits, you must build the daily habits of a legend now. Before the storm arrives, command your mornings. Discipline your body. Guard your focus. Restrain your words. Reflect nightly. Practice gratitude. Embrace voluntary discomfort. Do this, and when suffering comes, you will not break. You will rise while others collapse. And in your rising, success itself will be drawn to you irresistibly. Because you have become the man it cannot ignore. Pain will come. That is not a threat. It is a promise written into the fabric of life. No man escapes it. The question is never whether you will suffer, but whether you will rise through it. Most men will not. They will see pain as cruelty, and they will curse it. They will run from it, medicate it, drown it with distraction, or collapse under its weight. And in doing so, they will remain ordinary, invisible, forgotten. But a few, a rare, disciplined, unshakable few, will see pain differently. They will see it as their teacher, their sculptor, their forge. They will allow it to strip them, burn them, crush them, and in the end, refine them. And these are the men the world will never forget. Legends do not ask for an easy road. They ask for the strength to walk the hard one. They do not pray for fewer battles. They pray for sharper swords, stronger armor, and deeper resolve. They do not fear scars, because every scar is proof of endurance. They do not resent suffering, because every suffering is a stepping stone toward greatness. They know that gold must be refined, steel must be hammered, diamonds must be pressed, and men must be tested. The formula of the few is simple but ruthless. Endure longer than others expect you to. Reframe pain as preparation. Discipline yourself daily and rise silently, without the need for applause. If you do this, you will become magnetic. Success will find you. Respect will follow you. Destiny will open its doors to you. You will not need to chase recognition. Your very presence will command it. So, I ask you now, when pain hits, and it will, how will you respond? Will you collapse like the many, or rise like the few? Will you complain, or will you conquer? Will you run from the forge, or step into it willingly, knowing it is the only place where greatness is made? The choice is yours. And it is a choice you must make today, not tomorrow, not when the storm comes, but now. Because when suffering arrives, it will not give you time to prepare. It will demand to know what kind of man you already are. Decide now. Build now. Endure now. And if this message has spoken to you, if you feel the weight of its truth pressing on your spirit, then take action. Do not let this moment pass. Like this video so that its message spreads. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, so you never miss the daily wisdom that reshapes your mind, rebuilds your discipline, and reignites your spirit. Share it with another man who is in the midst of pain, who needs to hear that his suffering is not the end, but the beginning of his transformation. Because this is not just a message, it is a call to arms, a call to rise above the ordinary, to step into the formula of the few, to let pain become your ally instead of your enemy. When pain hits, remember, this is your initiation. This is your test. This is the fire that will prove whether you are common or legendary. And if you endure, if you reframe, if you build yourself daily with discipline and silence, then the world itself will not be able to ignore you. You will not have to chase. Success will chase you. You will not have to beg for respect. Respect will be demanded by the way you carry yourself. You will not have to announce your greatness. It will be revealed in the way you walk, the way you endure, the way you rise. This is the formula of the few. When pain hits, they think differently. And because they think differently, they live differently. And because they live differently, they become immortal in the memory of mankind. So rise. Endure. Transform. Become one of the few. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications and return daily for Napoleon Hill style wisdom that rebuilds your mind, redefines your path, and makes your rise unstoppable.